Holiday fun day.
Yeah. I have my earrings on.
Oh,
you
you
do.
And I have the coat
cream.
on. I've got the coat on.
Can I just say, I've got clothes on, and we'll leave it there. Okay, moving on.
Thank God for that. You won't scare the dogs.
Exactly.
Anyway,
So
now,
rude.
because it is Valentine's Day on Sunday, I thought, it's all down to me. I was thinking we need somebody on to help us with our sex and relationships. So I have invited, it's all down to me, nothing to do with anybody else, Nichi Hodgson to come on because that is her speciality. Nikki, can you please help the girls? Are you there?
Please. Hello.
Hello.
Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
Good afternoon, darling. Nice to see you in our nest. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for looking after us as it's coming up to Valentine's Day. Can you tell us, can you give us some tips?
Some tips for Valentine's Day. Is it tips for people that you are dating, or maybe if you don't have a date?
Well, at the moment I don't have a date, so I'm
right.
dateless.
Okay. So apart from hoping that the postman's going to bring something in the post Saturday, everyone's going to get in the post.
Are you suggesting we do the postman? Sorry.
I'm just saying there's still time to get it in the first class if you put it in today.
Okay. Didn't understand that.
So yeah. So presuming we're not expecting Valentine's cards, I think it is a day where people are more receptive to flirtation, and obviously options are very limited at the minute. But if you're going for a walk through the park, or you go to the local Tesco, or whatever you're doing, it's fine to be a bit cheeky with people. Ask them to get something off the top shelf for you, drop something and get them to pick it up for you.
I'm sorry, that sounds like a big suggestion. Can you get something off my top shelf? It sounds a little too risky.
As if you are in the Tesco. You need to be in the Tesco for that, obviously. But I think in general, dog walking is a great one if you've got a dog. Dog walking is very romantic. It's a great way to meet people if you've got a pet and you can go out in the park.
We all have.
I tried that, Nikki, but he always poos at the wrong time. And that's just not attractive at all. Excuse me while I just pick this up.
Yeah, that's the only uncontrollable element of it, I suppose.
I know, I've tried.
Yeah, it's not conducive to romance. But I think, just, put your glad rags on and get your big coat on, as we say in Yorkshire, where I'm from. And just go and have a little walk and see who's around. People are generally more receptive, I think, on Sunday. And it's Sunday, it'll be day of rest, so, people will be chilling.
Okay, I shall be out there. I shall keep you informed as I'm walking through Tesco with my, I am single t-shirt on.
Actually, Nikki, I have to say something to you. No sex, please, we're British.
Yeah, where does it come from?
No, who said that? I was in years ago. But is that true now, or is it like the opposite? I mean, because I know that going back to Edwardian times and it was completely rampant. And then in Victorian times, it was very sort of, most people were sort of celibate before marriage. So where are we at now?
They say that about the Victorian era, but actually they weren't that celibate. They just said that they were, because two-thirds of all the brides getting married at the end of the 19th century from the working class were already pregnant.
There you go.
I found that out researching my book on the history of dating. So there's all these myths about Victorian England. They knew how to whip a crinoline off. If they wanted to have sex. If somebody was going outside, they could get it on while everybody had left the house. They had all these kinds of tricks. So don't believe everything you read about the Victorians.
They had a morning room, they had day clothes, and so they would wear certain things underneath, so everything could open up, including their knickers, and they could do the job, and then then the man could disappear out of the back door, and they just had to close their knickers and put their skirt back on. Not that I know about these things.
I was saying, Sherry, you know all about this. Lots of detail there, but that is what happened. That is what happened.
I think she is the oldest one out of us, so maybe that's why.
So I'm 102.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you, are you saying that this dating information could be useful to us today? Think about the Georgians, darling, and the Restoration comedies was all about people, going to Russell Square and various places around London were absolute hubs for activity.
They absolutely were. And I mean, the other thing that Georgians loved is they loved personal ads. So we think they're a very modern invention, but actually during the Georgian era, they would put adverts in the Times newspaper looking for each other. And it would say things like, man of a comely demeanour seeks woman with sloping shoulders I have 10,000 a year. Or, you know, they'd be very straight to the point about what money they had and what they were looking
money,
for.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
So do you think that relates to as we've moved through time, the odd dick pic being sent? Is that the same, darling?
Well, I suspect you probably had illustrations. You definitely had erotic illustrations passed between people. Obviously, they took
look at the books of that.
And, but you know, you can imagine being in the coffee house, getting a little envelope, opening it, and there's like a really rude picture all of a sudden there in front of your face. So it's still
that happens darling. That happens in Starbucks, in Costa today.
It does.
What about spy glasses?
Oh yeah, jealousy glasses. These were really clever. So these were really for if you suspected somebody you fancied or your spouse was cheating on you with somebody else. So they would look like a little mini pair of binoculars which you would hold, but they had a mirror here, so you could see to the side and sometimes see to the back what was going on. So you could pretend that you were looking across the room, but you were actually watching this couple here.
Love
We need those now, darling.
And also, Nikki, the fan.
The fan,
Yes, I was trained in fanage when I was at drama school. How to use a fan.
Totally. I've got one here, actually.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll teach you a few little things that I know, because I learnt phanology as well. So if you put the fan to your eye, that means I want to see you. If you put it to your heart, it means I love you. So you don't do that very often. You've got to be really careful. Fanning like this, just constant fanning, means I'm taken. So, you know, when you've seen in Jane Austen films where a lot of the older ladies will just sit around fanning, that's part of the reason they're doing that. And if you drop the fan, it means that you will be friends with somebody only. So in Bridgerton, there's a really interesting scene where Daphne drops her fan in front of Friedrich, you know, the guy that they're trying to set her up with. And I don't know if the producers did that intentionally, but obviously that's actually a signal that looks like flirting, but is actually saying we're only going to be friends. Wow. So I was quite interested when I saw that.
Do you think flirting is still around, or do you think we don't know how to do it anymore?
Oh, I think we do still know how to do it, but we've had a really important conversation about Me Too, haven't we? And about what is too far. Yes. So I think what's happened is for a lot of younger men, they are very, very hesitant now to flirt. And everything is digital. So, you know, flirting is sending somebody a message through Instagram or through, you know, Snapchat or TikTok. And so that the flirting that other generations knew is now all being done in kind of chains of conversations. I do still think if you go to a pub when they're open, people will still go up to each other and talk and, you know, maybe say nice dress and things like that. But I think increasingly people have become hesitant. And the other thing that we've lost is all the kind of glorious things, like the Victorians used to use these little posies called tussie mussies to give to each other. And they used floriography, like the language of flowers, to send out meaning to the person they were giving the posy to. Also, they were designed to cover up the horrible smell of Victorian England. So you could kind of put your nose in it like this and not worry about the other scents around you.
Of course, yeah.
And obviously the Victorians invented the Valentine's card as well. So they used to send beautiful lace-trimmed and paper cut-out cards. And they also sent something called vinegar Valentines. Now, if you really hated somebody or you wanted to get rid of somebody, you would send them a vinegar Valentine. They were very rude. So I think they're quite handy. I think it'd be quite good to bring those back, actually.
I might put some fish and chips in there as well as some vinegar. Listen, you've been amazing. Yeah, will you come again, please? Because this is just the beginning.
And tell us more. Because the one thing I think which was lovely when you see all the Jane Austen stuff was the dance card.
Yeah.
You know, you always had to have a card of who was, you know, you get lumbered, I think, with some dork, but mostly, you know, you chose. I thought that was quite, well, of course, we can't do that anymore, can we? But
no,
anyway.
Dear, we aren't allowed to dance. But please come and see us again soon, my darling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Well, that has set us up for Sunday. That's all I'm saying. We're good to go. We get our fans out. We go to Tesco's. I was wondering, rather than ask about the top shelf, I might ask, could they dip into the freezer compartment to pull something out for me? But I'll let that go. It's frozen over. But listen,
is it that cold?
Now I want to introduce our next guest, a woman who has catapulted into our world thanks to Russell T Davies's extraordinary show, It's a Sin on Channel 4. This woman is an inspiration to all of us. Welcome, Jill Nalder. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, Jill.
How are you,
Good
sweetheart?
to see you.
All right. To see you.
Very well, thank you very much. bit overwhelmed with everything. It's all gone a bit crazy, but yeah, it's very exciting.
It is overwhelming.
Hang on, I want to show you this, please. Can you see this?
I know, I can't believe it.
You are now, yes, you are now a cult, and people are selling cushions, T-shirts. Be a bit more Jill. What is it? Yes, be more Jill. And I also have to go la 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 la.
Yeah.
I've got one there, dear. This is the Terence Higgins Trust.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you, darling, you know, you have known Russell and Jay and all that whole community because where did you first meet?
We met on the West Glamorgan Youth Theatre when we were very young teenagers. And it was brilliant. Yeah, we used to go and
exactly.
Courses, residential courses, and put on a show. What could be better?
Amazing.
Wow. And that is the most extraordinary thing, that your friendship has grown over these years.
Totally.
And what was so amazing and moving is the stories that you've all shared with Russell and you've shared together have become this pinnacle of information to a youth that didn't even know half the time that it had happened. But what's so amazing is the conversations you've had, we have all had too with our friends. And to have that resonance has been so important, because as we said with Russell, there's no, you know, statue to anyone who went through this terrible time. There's no memorial to them. Absolutely. And yet this program and you and your character, we all relate to, and is information for people today. And that's why it's so amazing. How has it been? You say it's overwhelming, but tell us, darling.
Well, that's what the incredible thing is, the way that it has resonated. I have had messages from many, many young people, gay men, gay women, like they just didn't know or understand what was going on. And I know all of us, we lived through it, and so we do know, and you can't believe that they didn't know, or they haven't heard or anything like that. So that is what is so incredible, how it seems to have touched so many people. Because you do know that Russell has going to write a brilliant script. You know that side of thing is going to be fantastic. He can touch hearts. He can really get something over to. But I mean, even he has been like, wow, this is
overwhelmed.
Yes. When does it arrive in America?
It arrives in America on the 18th. To my knowledge, Russell has been on the front of the New York Times, which is incredible.
Wow.
Oh, amazing.
I want to talk to you a minute, Jill, because, you know, I remember that time.
Yeah.
And the fear scared people, particularly families, the denial, that is all still in our hearts. And it really resonates with me. In fact, to be honest with you, I didn't see the story of Colin coming, and that made me cry. So I just hurt so much, because I thought, why didn't I? Do you know what I mean? It really shocked me. But when Russell asked you to be part of this, was there part of you that said, no, thanks, I don't want this. I don't want to have the memories back, the pictures in my head back. I don't want a part of this. Did that happen to you at all or not?
Well, it didn't happen in such a strong term as that, but when we were talking about it, because we met for a couple of weekends to be together and discuss things, you know, and I had no idea what he was going to come up with at the end of it all. You know, he didn't plan all that with me or anything like that. He's his own creative genius. So we talked about experiences and other people as well. And he also has other friends and people that he knew. So if I'd said no, then he would have carried on anyway.
Of course.
I couldn't, because it's a way to remember people, to pay tribute to the boys. That was always what Russell wanted to do, was to make a memorial, as Harriet was saying, to make a memorial in some way to the boys. So no, I didn't think, no, I won't do it, but I did get nervous.
Thank God you didn't say that, because I think you're a very important part of this show. And you can see now the world has gone mad, and it's not because I don't think it's because they don't remember. I think it's just brought it all back. And people have gone, oh my God, I'd forgot. I you know, like denials, I've put it here, and now we're looking at it, and you are a very important part of that, and thank God you're there. That's all I can say.
Well, that's so lovely of you. This story of Colin, it did really shock people. Yeah, it did shock people. But that's the truth. The virus knows no bounds. It's your wrong place, wrong time, you're unlucky. Everyone.
No, it did shock me completely.
And Jill, you know, what you gave at that time, as you, back in the 80s, that terrible time we all remember so well, was unconditional love. And that's what comes across in that series. And but the hatred, you must have actually had a lot of opposition at the time. I mean, how did you deal with that? Did you ever feel, oh my God, you know, how am I going to get through this?
It was all sort of out there, wasn't it? I mean, you end up being closeted in this kind of community in your world where it's you and them and our community, the theatre community, against we're standing together. So you have this feeling of solidarity, but also this massive feeling of secrecy, that this is what we're dealing with, and we have to just get on with that. And when the time comes, you know, for very difficult situations with people's families that didn't even know that their son was gay.
Yes.
That's the nightmares. You already have got the secret, and so the next secret is an extension of that. It couldn't have been worse, because they were already living, you know, not everybody obviously, but a lot of gay men didn't come out to their families.
And you became their family, didn't you, Jill? You became when their families denied, you became their family, and you're the only person that they had.
Well, at one point, one of my friends, I was the only person that knew for many, many months, and that really was. I kept saying, you must say something to someone.
Yes.
Say something. You must try and say something, because that level of secrecy was really difficult. But a lot of times people had confided in a couple of people. Like maybe yourself, you know, you if somebody tells you, and you're not a very small group that know.
I didn't realise at all was that some of the boys, like Colin, were put in isolation and no one was allowed in to see them at all. And that fight that his parent had to get him out, I didn't know that had happened at all.
That was in the very early days. I mean, that personally did not happen to my small group of friends, you know, my close friends. But I know that did happen, and I know for absolutely that people wouldn't go in and take food in. You know, they would leave the food outside and wait for somebody who was, you know, a family member or a friend to take the food in, because they didn't know. It's a bit like COVID.
And Jill, what
ignorance?
happened? The pink house. It looked so lovely.
Palace, darling, it's the palace. The pink palace.
The pink palace. Is it still there, Jill?
That was completely a true place. It wasn't quite as big as Russell has portrayed it, because he obviously got things going on in every room. So it was a London flat. It was in Hampstead, and we fell upon it out of an advertisement, and we went to look at it, and it was truly pink. It was pink sofa, pink curtain.
Wow.
We thought it was good because it was only £80 a week between 4 people.
Brilliant.
That was good.
And we thought, it's not going to be you know, too good. But when we got there, we got, oh my God, it's a palace. And so
fabulous.
And it had chandeliers and silver service and all kinds of things. Believe it.
It looked amazing.
And did you really buy it in the end?
No, didn't buy it in the end.
Oh, that was a shame. That would be worth millions now.
And wouldn't I wish I'd bought it? Because But no, we eventually bought the place down in south of London, so we couldn't buy that. But
wow.
5 years we had it for. So
it was beautiful.
So Jill, tell me about the charity which started off as West End Cares, and now it's Make a Difference, and you've raised £10 million. Tell us all about that, please.
You know, I am proud of that, and everybody. It wasn't just me, but I started it with Anthony Lynn and Sean Kerrison and a lot of other people, maybe 10 of us. Originally, we set up a little committee upstairs at the Adelphi Theatre. We'd run Crusade to ask if we could use that name, West End Cares. It had been used for a big charity cabaret. And then after that, the whole theatre, we got the name. The theatre profession were on board in every way possible. And then when Crusade stopped being Crusade and closed down, it became Theatre Mad. And in that time, we have raised, I think, more than 10 million. But in the first couple of years, we raised a couple of million. We did late night shows, late night cabarets, races, competitions, tombolas.
And this money has gone to research.
Everything.
All this money goes to research. Where does it go?
It went to research. It went by Crusade to the hardship fund for people who'd fallen on hard times, you know, couldn't work any longer and were suffering with HIV and AIDS and the stigma. And so that some people have very bad neurological disorders. They couldn't get out and about. We brought these, you know, the little cars that you get so people can get out when they can't walk. We did all kinds of hardship. I mean, people sometimes just not earning any money, they can't pay their bills, so we'd pay bills for people, electricity, lights and all that kind of thing. Just a crusade would decide where the money went, because they were, so we would pass the money over. But I do remember, literally, we did the bucket collections. Must have been every theatre was involved in the bucket collections.
I remember.
I remember.
There you go. So everybody was doing the bucket collections, and it depends on. It was a bit of a competition because, of course, if you were in a big musical, you could raise a lot of money. But we, the cast in my dressing room at Oliver, we counted £20,000 in between numbers. And we carried it in buckets and we took it to the bank in between shows on the matinees.
Wow.
So that was due to actually Jim Dale, who gave such a beautiful speech, and who was talking and who would inspire the audience to give money and all that kind of thing. So loads of ideas people came up with, all kinds of ideas.
And where is the charity? This charity still going on now? It's still...
Now it's called Theatre Mad, Make a Difference. I know Harriet has done a lot of stuff with, and it's still going. And I've been saying now with Russell, at the end of this, we will get at the end of this, meaning lockdown, we will get a charity night going in the West End, because I think
we'll all be there.
We'll all be there.
And they'll come and they'll do something, because of this renewed interest now in HIV and AIDS. I think we can organise a good night around that, really.
You're still in touch with people from that time?
Yes, completely, absolutely. Because you know, everybody that, I mean, I've still got friends like you probably have yourselves that are in triple combination therapy. Some people who were right on the cusp. They were just in time to get the treatment, and so so very much so. Still in touch with some of the doctors and nurses. Still in touch with people.
Oh, really? Fabulous.
Lovely.
I think it's important to say, isn't it, that it's also a condition you live with. It's not that now you live with it, and if your partner has it, you take PrEP. There's other things that, you know, all things there to support it. So it's normalized. We have flu jabs every year. It's different, obviously, with the meds for HIV and AIDS. But you live with it, and you live a long life and a fulfilled life.
A normal lifespan is expected. You're expected to live a normal lifespan, although you know,
absolutely.
It's not easy taking medication all the time, but it's amazing.
Yeah. And now testing for AIDS is very simple, isn't it? It's that little small thing they've been doing all this last week.
Done testing.
Yeah. So do you know what? When I was watching one of the episodes, it kind of really relates to now. With this COVID, because there are so many deniers of COVID and deniers of the vaccine, and I'm not taking that, I'm not, you know, and all and that period, I remember people going, oh, it's rubbish, this whatever they call it, this AIDS thing, it's not true, it's not real. And you'd have things and you'd read it and go, but it seems to be real. And then everybody would, you know, and this kind of is reflecting that time, isn't it?
It is. And that advert, you know, when they played the advert.
Oh yes, it's horrible. It was horrible. I mean, we did that, you know, that moment when you all just froze and thought, oh my God, there's that advert.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And they made it so, you know, it was like a mini horror film, wasn't it? It was a big the lilies and the, you know, it wasn't as informative. You see them being very kind and loving about COVID, and you know, get you know, looking after people with COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, and yet it was and to make it so horrible. Yes, they were trying to say don't die of ignorance, but it did make people outside of the gay community even more stigmatizing.
It was demonizing in its portrayal.
It was. Yeah, it was. I never forget that ad coming out. It was absolutely terrifying. And I think an awful lot of people as well, which I mean has not been talked about in the series, but I was thinking about it. There were an awful lot of men that were bisexual. So an awful lot of women and children were very worried.
Oh
yes.
And just, you know, just everything, isn't it, to do with the people's sex life? It's everything. It's bisexuality, it's infidelity, it's casual sex, it's monogamous sex with the person who just happens to be infected and doesn't know. It's the hemophiliac, the sex,
and blood transfusions too.
And just plain blood transfusions, especially if you traveled somewhere and I did hear of somebody who got a blood transfusion, emergency blood transfusion in South America, and ended up HIV positive. And
that's right.
I mean, Russell is a wonderful writer, and I do think this series is one of the most important series I've watched in many, many years for many, many reasons. I mean, and I think it's history in its making, although it's history already made. And when I watched it, I kept thinking, oh God, this is like the Titanic. We can't change the ending, you know. And I said to Russell, the saddest thing of all is I watch it and go, no, because we know what the ending is and we can't change it. So I think it's one of the most important series, and that's why it's gone insane. And when it goes to America, it will go crazy.
Also for the younger people, the young boys who didn't know about it, because they've never had to live through it.
No, and they are speaking with such love about what those boys went through and how it paved the way for them to have a normal life.
Yeah, absolutely. My children are watching this, and they didn't even know about it.
There
you are. One of my daughters born in '93, so it didn't even enter into her head. You know, she's gone, wow.
That's what's so good. Total awareness.
Because of that, they were, trailblazers. They were acting as guinea pigs with medication and stuff. Because of course they didn't take the medication, but some of it was not tested. But some of it, you didn't know how it was going to go. You didn't know if that was going to work.
Yes,
or, an AIDS never worked really, but it does work in combination.
Yeah,
of course.
Is there anything specific happening for you next, darling?
You mean in work-wise?
Yeah.
Work. Lovely question, Harriet. Wouldn't I love it? Because at the minute, of course, nothing is there. I mean, it's so frustrating that you can't perform, you can't do anything really. If it is, it's online, and that doesn't feel like, so it doesn't feel like you're not there with the audience. So it feels very different. I'm sure.
Yeah.
We could always put a sound effect of applause when you leave now, if that would be good.
Yes. Well, exactly. Brilliant.
So we could and bow. There we go.
Yeah. Thank you, Jill.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. See you very so much. See you soon, darling.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, so amazing and inspirational.
Friday. It is Friday. Is today Friday? It's
you mean Saturday?
Oh my giddy aunt.
Saturday. We are going to be talking tomorrow. We're going to be talking to Richard Arnold about our favourite or not favourite Valentine Day presents, gifts, anything that happened to us on Valentine Day. Yes. And on Monday, I think we have, as a belated Valentine present to us all, we have the wonderful Anthony Costa.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So he should be in on Monday. So he's our belated Valentine's present to ourselves.
Oh, very nice.
So
okay,
we will see you tomorrow. Have a nice evening.
See you tomorrow, girls.
Bye, darling.
Bye.